Hello, my name is Latonya and I will be presenting in my business model analysis the argument of why I feel that Cirque will be a much more successful product than the traditional circus. I will be arguing the model, the variations, the canvas elements of unique value proposition, customer segments, channels, and revenue streams, and the conclusion on how just tweaking this product a bit, being the traditional circus, has created a significantly different product for a significantly different audience and market. Now, the model. Cirque's business model does not in any way line up with the traditional circus business model. These models do not line up because these two models thrive in different markets with very different and dynamic demographics. Cirque's ideal customer is someone that likes the theater, ballet, and music, a more cultured crowd with no children, which means more expendable income. Now, the traditional circus caters to those that like to be in a more casual settings. They tend to come from a lower income crowd with children, and they usually have less expendable income. Now, three of the biggest variations for what I could see with these two business models were, I could see one dominating the live entertainment sector and the other becoming more of a faint memory. Now, this would affect them in the areas of the quality of showmanship, the culture and quality of the consumer, and the nimbleness of the business structure. Now, look at the circus showmanship. It's kind of cheesy and slapstick. The culture and quality of the consumer is laid back, casual, usually a blue-collar worker with 2 to 3 kids. The nimbleness of the business structure is not very good, being that they're dealing with exotic animals, which presents a bigger liability. It's difficult and costly to move around and store and maintain. Whereas Cirque, their showmanship is more classy and theatrical. The culture and quality of the consumer is the mid to late 30s or older age bracket. They're usually college educated, white collar worker with 0 to 1 child or an empty nester. The nimbleness of the business structure is mostly, for Cirque, is mostly entertainers and many costumes and set productions, which can be cheap and easy to move and store. Now see, look at that. All these animals they got to maintain. Whereas Cirque just dresses people up like animals. Look at that. Zebras. Now, let's get into the canvas elements. Okay. We have now come to the business of the canvas elements, and the 4 we are going to concentrate on are the unique value proposition, how this is represented by Cirque, because the experience is very immersive, it's inclusive, and theatrical people are willing to pay upwards of $90 per ticket for just an entrance only. Whereas today, it's just the opposite experience in the circus. It's not as immersive or inclusive, and it is more comedic and slapstick. Smells kind of bad, at least that's the memory I have. It's easy to prepare for if you're willing to pay $20 to $30 per ticket, plus a few hot dogs and maybe some cotton candy and the cheesy fan full of rainbow candy pellets in the handle. You guys don't act like y'all don't remember that. Now, let's get to the customer segments. These two groups could not have been more different than when it comes to the customer segments. Cirque caters to the more sophisticated, aristocratic adult crowd, and they tend to be higher income, of course, And the traditional circus has reconciled itself to catering to children of the more casual working crowd. They even promote a baby's first ticket special. That's the website address. You guys have got to see that. You got to check that out for yourself. Now we're going to get into the channels. Okay. The Cirque franchise has put some pretty good expense into getting their message to the masses. They promote on television, theater networks, and global or world promotions. They even promote a global citizenship. You guys have got to see that. No doubt this is for socioeconomic and geopolitical reasons. This was a smart move when the intention is to take your franchise global. Unlike them, in the traditional circus market, you don't have that large expense of creating global awareness. It has no agenda, and most will not venture outside of the national lines of its society. Most traditional circuses don't. This may be because of the rules and regulatory ramifications of taking certain animals across international borders. So their ways of reaching consumers tend to be more local and less sophisticated. Just take a look at the Ringling Brothers website. While most circuses in the traditional world do not have a website. That's the truth. Now, let's get down to the revenue streams. Cirque has their whole revenue stream all figured out, and from what market demographic they're promoting their goods to, such as authentic themed custom leather bags that start at $89 a piece. They promote their t-shirts as wearable art and charge anywhere from $49 to $69 for one. Global capitalism at its best. They also realize that marketing to women is the key. These guys sell jewelry based on the pricing on their website. I would say they value the customers at approximately $350 to $400 per customer overall. Now, the traditional circus charges through or creates its revenue through ticket sales or 2-for-1 specials and the cheaply made memorabilia. These are toys I could buy off the street downtown LA for $2 to $10. They are selling these items starting at $20. People are not willing to pay that kind of money for toys that will be broken in 24 hours. The website is extremely poorly made or antiquated, providing a very poor user experience, which tells a tech-savvy person that this industry is not doing well at all. Concessions are where they are still trying to make their money. $9 for a hot dog and soda. Chips are $3. The world of digital marketing and technology has now taken over, guys. Wake up. Now, the conclusion of my argument. The world of digital marketing and the speed that information travels at is part of what is driving these traditional circuses out of business. The quality of their entertainment has been consistently going down at a time when the consumer is demanding more for their money, or at least more value for their monies. Kids are carrying smartphones now, and these cheesy toys are more of an insult to these kids. What the traditional circus should do is market to these kids for what they like, and this can easily be found out through their social networks. Cirque has decided to take advantage of this new information-based era and its technology by making their messages a global one. Oh, and just like their shows, their memorabilia and apparel are sold with a message or a mission tied to them. You can buy yourself a $25 or $35 tee that says onedrop.org on it to help those in communities around the world have safe drinking water. So this market segment feels like they have done something for the less fortunate. These guys are really good at what they do. They have managed to create value through telling a number of colorful stories, creating message, messages and partnering with consumers by putting some global philanthropic value to their mission statement, while at the same time reducing their overhead and liability. And as long as there's a story to tell that is combined with a message and a mission that people want to hear or be a part of around the world, then the franchise will continue to do extremely well in any market, with any demographic. All they have to do is deliver the right story to the right market segment. This process of finding vastly different alternatives will impact my business venture at Mutate Media on two different levels: as a franchise and as a functioning interactive digital media advertising brokerage. As a business franchise that has plans to obtain a global presence, we have to be very strict about how we plan to go about creating and offering value to our franchisee owners. Also, we do not want to cheapen the franchise offering. Offer greater value is what we plan to do. View the potential competition and figure out how we can make what we have better, faster, and nimbler. Now, here in our chart, I have two different columns. I have differentiators and alternative impact. Now, the differentiators are what circus and the traditional circuses have done in the market. And the alternative impact will explain how what they have done as a red ocean and blue ocean company, how we can take that information and make better decisions for our company moving forward. Now, the differentiators for CirQ is that they rely on technology, and circus, this traditional circus, denies technology. Have you seen their website? It's cheesy. They use very little, if any at all. You got to wake up and get with the times. Well, this will have an alternative impact for Mutate Media as a franchise by creating value through the experience of an elite ownership. Mutate Media as a brokerage will create value through proven benchmark strategies using cutting-edge technologies. Now, the differentiators for CirQ are they campaign to adults. The traditional circus campaigns to children. How this will have an alternative impact on my company is that Mutate Media as a franchise will market franchises only and strictly to those within our targeted demographic. And the Mutate Media as a brokerage or a working company will stay up to date on how new media campaigns will impact future global economics. Now, this is important when we are investing our consumers' monies. Now, the differentiators for CirQ as far as ticket sales are against traditional circus is that the average ticket sale is $100 per person. And for the circus, the average ticket sale is $30 per person. How this will have an alternative impact on Mutate Media? Well, Mutate Media as a franchise will never reduce the product price, but offer more value and an outstanding response time. Kind of like CirQ. They didn't reduce the ticket price, but they did give a better quality show and an experience, an immersive experience at that. And Mutate Media as a brokerage will help the consumer to understand what RTB or real-time bidding is and how it affects their return on investment. Now, CirQ's differentiators versus the traditional circus differentiator is that CirQ promotes an experience through storytelling and offering of a visionary message, whereas the traditional circus promotes fun and the experience creates memories, which sometimes are forgotten. Well, how this will have an alternative impact through Mutate Media as a franchise is that we will continue to innovate in all 12 of the modules we have created and patent all things new, tried, and true. Mutate Media as a brokerage will be impacted through promoting the ability to invest at low amounts with possible decent returns. This is how we will market to the consumer, the everyday consumer on our platform. And finally, the market differentiators I see for Cirque as a franchise is that the franchise is packaged for global presence versus the traditional circus, which is franchise. The market for them and their franchisees is fragmented and it's packaged for a national based market. Whereas Mutate Media as a franchise will package our message for global existence in brick and mortar and virtual real estate. Remember Ray Kroc and McDonald's real estate agency? You know I'm always thinking about that. And then Mutate Media as a brokerage or a functioning company will show the consumer traction, benchmarks, and achieve goals. Well, that's my conclusion. Here are my references, and that's the end.